that's what's so fun about manifestation too, because you know it's going to come in a way you can't imagine. Mm-hmm. And is going to totally take you by surprise. And so you just have to hold on for that uncertain time when you're not seeing how it's going to work out, and trust it will. And God always does the coolest thing. And you're just so thrilled at the end of it.
Well, hello there, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and as always, I'm thrilled that you have joined me. I have decided to do a series of episodes that are focused on manifestation success stories. I thought that it would be helpful for my audience to see really how simple it is to manifest and create the life that you desire. And so I'm talking to people who have used the prosperity approach successfully in their lives and the results they've experienced from it. So I am so excited to introduce our first guest today. But before I show her off to you, I just want to remind you very quickly, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, be sure that you are following the podcast on your favorite app. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we drop another episode. And to see what we're up to and for more free resources, go on over to AllysonChavez.com. You can see what we're up to over there. And I'm speaking and traveling. So if you know anybody doing events, looking for speakers where my message might be able to contribute to their audience, feel free to shoot us an email over at clientcare@AllysonChavez.com, and we would love to make that connection. So I am really excited to introduce you to one of my most favorite people. Her name is Megan Marlor. Megan, welcome to the Prosperity Approach.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
We are going to have such a fun conversation today. I can feel it.
Yes.
So first, let people know, how long have you been using the Prosperity Approach?
I first started Prosperity Approach in, it was June 2020. So it's been, at the time of this recording, 2 years now.
Just about 2 years. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So, and I know people are like, all right, just tell me what your results are. What have you manifested? What have you manifested so far in the last 2 years?
Oh, a lot, which is so exciting. I manifested, my first goal was a financial goal. And I had a baby business, and I started doing $1,000 a month consistently in that, with that goal. And it was 2 months. And then ever since then, it's been that and more, at least.
So it took you 2 months to manifest your first financial goal.
The first financial goal, 2 months.
Of $1,000 a month. And where were you before?
Again, it was baby business. Mm-hmm. So like $300.
Cool. So you tripled your business in 3 months or in 2 months.
In 2 months.
Prosperity Approach.
And it's raised. So
that is awesome. That is awesome. I remember when we first started working together, and your business was very baby, and you had done like 166 sales in a year. And then you came back and was like, hey, guess how many sales I did this year alone? 750. So you had like this 450% increase
in 2021. Yeah.
which is so cool. So, okay. So your first one was a financial goal. What else have you been able to manifest using the Prosperity Approach?
I manifested my dream house. We were able to find and build our dream house in 7 months. And from we weren't planning on moving at all. And then we decided that we would want to. And 3 weeks later, the opportunity went in my lap. And so we took it. And so I'm living in my dream house now, and it has everything I wanted, and it's amazing.
Okay. But you have to tell us what made you, what was the deal clincher for this house?
That made me want to do it? Or
like when you saw the floor plan, what was it?
Oh my gosh.
This is my house.
Tub. I wanted a big tub, a big soaking tub, because that is my sacred space in my life. So I wanted a big tub, and that was kind of my non-negotiable. And everything we'd looked at that was building wise was just master showers and owner's showers. And so I was like, I don't know, none of these feel right. And they don't have my tub. And then we just happened to walk in on this model home just to see. and they happened to be opening plots up. And the one plot on the house the floor plan we like best didn't normally have a bathtub in the owner's bath. And we just happened to ask about this particular plot of land, which would have been our favorite to be on. It was a corner lot and it was really awesome. And it had a bathtub that they randomly put in it, but they usually had only done once before in like hundreds of houses, this house they built. So
oh
I
my
got
gosh.
tub. It was amazing.
I love that. They just happened. It just happened
to happen.
Walking. It just happened. And I think that's the funnest thing about manifesting is that it is just like that. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like we just happened to ask. I don't know why we asked. We just happened to love this lot. And it just so happened. Like it's so fun. It's so fun. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the work that goes into manifesting and using the prosperity approach, because one of the big misconceptions that people have about manifesting is that it's like, well, you just think about it and then it just comes somehow. And then it materializes like out of thin air, but that's really the exception that proves the rule. And so what I have found with my own process, which is the prosperity approach, is that you notice inner shifts first, because the physical manifestation is what comes last in the process. But in order to consistently manifest what you want and then to reach a level of mastery beyond manifestation, which is called co-creation, you have to change yourself first and then they come. So what were the shifts that you noticed, inner shifts, and how long did it take those shifts to come?
Inner shifts were faster than the physical piece. So when I started the prosperity approach process, within like 1 week, I started feeling shifts and I started to think differently and I started using the building blocks. And that is the thing. Like, it seems like it just comes, like the house just came into existence. But the work I was doing before the house came was all mental. And so I had to be in my house. I had to feel the feelings that I wanted to feel in my house. And that took discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to train your mind to think before you experience physically.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. You said that you noticed the inner shifts first because the inner shifts happened fast. What was the first thing that you noticed?
When I started Prosperity Approach, the reason I started was because I had postpartum depression going on that I really wanted to get a handle on. Within the first week was feeling relief that I had not felt in so long. And I was able to feel those feelings of gratitude again in a new way. And just little things started bringing me joy. And so I could feel contentment. I could feel peace. I could feel relief within 1 week. And that was amazing because it had been so long since I'd felt those.
Wow. Yeah. And we can't discount that, especially where the world is today. I think what people are looking for more than anything is just some relief, but they look for it outside of them. They look for things to change first and then they can feel the relief. But when you flip it, you feel the relief first, then the changes.
Yes. And that's what I had been doing. I'd been doing everything. I've been doing all the things to try and feel what I wanted to feel. And when I started going internal first, I created those feelings in me and I had it all along. And that was so powerful to learn that I had everything I had already, like I'd been begging for, I already had. I just had to know how to unlock it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's surprisingly simple and easy to unlock, don't you think?
Yeah. It took me a week, like to start.
Exactly. Okay. So tell us some of the other things that you manifested. So you got your dream house in 7 months. You got your business exploded in 2. What else? Yes. What else has happened?
So my very most passionate thing I love is traveling. That is like my heart and soul is in traveling. I love being in new places and feeling culture shock and being in a new place and being totally challenged. And I live for that and I thrive on that. And I thought I had to totally give it up when I had a kid. So I kind of put it on the back burner. And then once I realized I could do all these things with this house and the job and everything, I was like, maybe traveling isn't actually an impossible dream for me anymore. And I wanted to do a very specific kind of travel I've been trying to get to for a really long time. I wanted to be long-term somewhere. So my goal felt so impossible with working and being married and having a baby and stuff. But I wanted to go to Costa Rica for 5 weeks or more. And I did it. That one took like 3 months to get all the travel lined up and everything. But I did 5 weeks in Costa Rica on a really nice vacation. We were in a really nice place and we were like had an ocean view and we saw all the animals in the water and we really are bird nerds and loved a bird. And there was birds everywhere because it was kind of in the forest. And so we were just like constantly with our binoculars and all these new birds and so excited. And we were able to do some fun side trips on the weekends and work from there. And it was exactly how I had always wanted it. And I'd been dreaming of since I graduated high school.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And how easy was that to manifest? And you can be honest.
That one was my hardest one.
Yeah.
Because it felt the most impossible. And I think I wanted it the very most. So it was hard to detach from the outcome and the timing. And so that was a really great lesson for me on how to do that. And I had my date. We had booked it. We got into certainty and we booked the tickets and we booked the Airbnb and we did all the things and the car rental. And I put a good place for money to come in. And we were like, how long were we out? A week out maybe? And the money hadn't come yet. We had some of it. We didn't have all of it. And I remember talking to you and I was in total panic mode. Like, what did I do? This isn't going to work. And you just calmed me down and we had a whole week. And that's a ton of time in like the quantum world.
Yes.
And 2 days before we left, and my husband was like kind of freaking out too. And so I was really worried about that. But I just kept doing the work and I kept going into the feeling of how it was going to feel when we were there. And it was paid for and taken care of. And the money came 2 days before we left.
And I have to say, like, that was so inspiring to me because I didn't know how it was going to manifest either. And your husband was in freak out and he's like, oh, it was too expensive. We should have gotten something cheaper. What are we doing? And you're like, what do I do? And I'm just like, well, just calm down and breathe because I'm really interested to see how this whole thing unfolds. Are they going to get to the airport and be like, no, never mind. We'll just go back home or what's going to happen? And I remember when you said what happened and I was like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't surprise me, but it still just delights me. And it does surprise me in how it's delivered when it finally does come. Cause it's usually in a way that's very unexpected to all of us. And
it was like we were building the house at the time and something happened with the house that freed up the money and it just came. And so it wasn't even like, we didn't put it on a card, like the money came and it just happened to work out. And that's what's so fun about manifestation too, because it's going to come in a way you can't imagine and it's going to totally take you by surprise. And so you just have to hold on for that uncertain time when you're not seeing how it's going to work out and trust it will. And God always does the coolest thing. And you're just so thrilled at the end of it.
He totally does. He totally does. So there's lots of different building blocks. You mentioned some building blocks to being able to manifest. Like you've got to get focused. You've got to be specific. You've got to grow your wealth consciousness. You got to change your programs that you're running subconsciously. You've got to play by the rules of the game, the universal laws. You got to live in the right place, like the right state of mind, no matter what's going on around you. What do you think is the hardest part, or what was the hardest part of the prosperity approach for you?
The discipline is the hardest part because none of the things I was doing were really like hard. So it was really easy to say, well, I'll just do it again tomorrow. Like I don't have time today. I slept in or the baby woke up early. And so I'll just do that tomorrow. And so the discipline the discipline to be was the hardest because it is like, it's not work, but it is shifting your mindset constantly, especially when you're not used to it. The very first month, I felt like I was doing mental gymnastics at like Olympic levels. And I'd go to bed so tired and I hadn't done anything but try and change my thought process every 5 seconds. And that took discipline, and it takes discipline not to just go, okay, it's like I did enough today. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
agree. I agree.
yeah.
And you know what? It is a ton of work, actually. Let's make no mistake about it. There is a lot of work, but it's not the outward work that we think it is.
No, and it's work you're doing while you're like, while I'm running. I didn't add anything to my business. I didn't add anything. Like I didn't take a new job to make the money for Costa Rica to happen. But as I was washing my dishes and as I was putting Avon to sleep, my daughter, as I was, driving in the car and trying not to feel rushed in traffic, like it's that kind of being that you have to switch constantly because you're so used to being in one way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is. And in fact, I remember before I had developed the prosperity approach and was teaching it to others that I was vision boarding and I was like doing the things and I would do the same thing as you. Well, I have a flair for the dramatic. So I'd like rip the vision board off my wall and I tear it into pieces as I was crying because it would never get here. But I think a lot of times we're just like, this is just nothing's changing. This is too hard. I'll try it again tomorrow. And then you just go right back into your old habits and your old patterns. And then it's been a week and you can't even remember what you were doing. And you're so sporadic at it that you're like, you're not getting any traction. And then your mind is like, see, this isn't working and this is too hard and you can't actually do it. And nobody knows what they're talking about. This whole manifestation thing is a big scam. And, and then you just keep living in status quo and all of that. I'm so glad that you like confronted that though. And you continue to step up to it. You continue to come back and to get that discipline that really is required in order to be successful at manifesting, especially consistently when you get into co-creation.
And at the beginning, it got a lot easier and easier as I got out of my old programs more and more. And so I don't go to bed so tired now. Like I'm still up leveling, right? But the beginning, I really do feel is the hardest because you're breaking out of those patterns for the first time and you've never done it before and your body's not used to it and your brain's not used to it. So yeah, the consistency at the beginning especially is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Megan, what one thing would you tell somebody who maybe has a hard time manifesting?
Honestly, get help because manifesting is really hard to do by yourself. At least at the beginning. I don't know if I would have stuck with it had I not had your help. Like, so it doesn't have to be Allyson, but you need help to get out of those sticky pieces or, maybe I wouldn't have, I was on the verge of canceling Costa Rica or, canceling the Airbnb and getting something cheaper, even though that's not what I really wanted. And if I hadn't had someone walking through that with me who could see what I couldn't see and had experienced the like dazzle surprise at the end, I probably would have given up. And so having someone walk with you makes it so much easier and is so worth whatever investment that would take. Because your dreams are totally worth any investment. So get help.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Holy cow. This has been such a fun conversation. Like, and I knew all of this even before we started talking, but you pulled me right back again and I've just relived it with you. And it was just so much fun. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I know you are doing even bigger things now, which I think probably feel easier to you now than Costa Rica did back then because of the way that you've been able to skill up over time. And so, it's so fun. It's so fun to see you consistently create the life that you desire and the relationships that you want and your health. And like, just all of that is it's really, really fun and inspiring for me to be able to see you do that too. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a great conversation. And if you are thinking, holy cow, I actually want to master this manifestation thing and I want to take it to the next level and do some co-creation, click on the link below and schedule a time to talk with a member of Team Prosperity. Let's see where you're at. Let's see where the gaps are. And let's see if maybe we can help you to close those gaps. Because I really do agree with Megan. Manifesting on your own is very, very difficult to do, especially at the very beginning, because you can go off the rails so fast. So don't do it alone. Come schedule a call with Team Prosperity. Let's see what we can do for you. And until next time, remember, prosperity becomes you.